Hello internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture, and today is another Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. If you want to catch up on this series, if you're just getting in right now, I have a whole playlist for this entire series. And the name is Color Wheel Monday, so you can check that on the channel. And today it's almost our last. We are going to be adding our electric violet to our Kelly green today, so this is quite exciting. Um, yes and no. Anyways, so in the series we've worked the primer colors and now we're almost done the secondary colors, which is very exciting. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. And today it's going to be almost the last episode. Next episode is the last with Kelly Green for this entire series, so it's very exciting. So I already have leftover stock solution from previous episode of Color Wheel Monday, and we're going to be doing Electric Violet today. I'm hoping that we see something now with those two colors, but I don't have a whole lot of hopes. So my conclusion is that Kelly Green, or green in generals, or more powerful than Caribbean blue. So I guess this is a piece of advice. Be careful with the amount of green you're using. So first thing we're going to do is our stock solution. What is a stock solution? This is the liquid form of our dry powders. So we're using Dharma Trading Co. dry acid dyes. They also have other type of dyes depending on what you want to do. So you can check out their website for that. The main reason I've been using those colors is because the main colors that I've been using through the entire series are part of the starter pack from Dharma Trading Co. So we can experiment a lot with those colors, and we don't necessarily need a lot of premixed powders. You can try to do your own colors. So we're going to do our stock solution, but before doing that, what do we need? If you answered a respirator that makes sure you don't breathe any fine particles, this is the correct answer. It doesn't have to be the specific brand. You just have to make sure that this is something that will catch any fine particles and you won't be breathing them in. Because we only have one pair of lungs, so please protect them. Okay, with that being said, let's do this. So we're going to do a 1% stock solution, and this is 1 gram of dry powder for 100 milliliter. So before doing anything, we need to make sure that we have our scale at 0, and we're going to measure 1 gram of dry powder. And I like to use this type of scales because it's supposed to be precise enough that it's easier to recreate colors like that. Okay, I'm tired. Okay, and now we're going to be adding our liquid. Perfect. And we don't have any clumps at the bottom, which is great. Perfect. So now that this is all liquid and there's no chance of us breathing in any fine particles, we can remove our respirator and we can grab our mason jars. And here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a 1% depth of shade of our Kelly Green in each mason jars because we want it to be the main character. Well, it's been the main character for all of those so far, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. So we're going to put 10 milliliters of our 1% stock solution of Kelly Green in each of the mason jars because we are using 10 gram mini skeins from Nitpick Fingering Straw, which is a 75% superwash merino and 15% nylon. So there we are. And we're going to do the same type of fade with that we've done so far with our ultraviolet. We are going to do from 0.05% to 1% of the shade to create this lovely fade. So 0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and now we're going to go here with 5 millimeter, 7.5 millimeter, and 10 millimeters. So we have a half and half situation with the last mason jar. There we go. Hopefully this time we'll see something happening. Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually a little disappointed that green has been like that. But for electric violet, if I remember correctly, it's one of the colors that needs the citric acid and needs the heat to fully like develop in the right color. So I will hold space for hope. Maybe not, I don't know. We'll see. Because so far it just looks like shades of greens. Because right now we do not have any heat or citric acid in our mason jars. Because I want the color to take time to strike as much as possible, so we have a more even color penetration. So far it's just looking like darker shades of greens. Oh gosh. We'll see. Catherine, keep hope. We never know. Oh gosh. Okay, let's carry on. And the way that I'm adding the skeins is to try to help avoid to have too much natural resistance in the mason jars with this mini skeins. So we go up and down, we move the zip tie a little bit to avoid natural resistance. So we're gonna now put those into the double boiler. There we go. So we're going to turn on the heat right now. We still don't have any citric acid as of right now because we want the color to have a chance to strike as evenly as possible on each of those mini skeins. So we're going to be waiting 10 to 15 minutes before adding citric acid. And then we're going to be adding the citric acid. And I've turned on the heat right now because it's going to take longer for the water to reach the right temperature. So this is why we're doing this. So I will see you in 15. So it's been about 30 minutes since, not 30 minutes, not at all. It's been like 10 minutes. What am I talking about? So we can add our citric acid. So rule of thumb is usually 1 tablespoon per pound, or 454 grams of yarn or fiber. So since we have 10-gram mini skeins, like not even a teaspoon, like an eighth of a teaspoon usually is more than enough to have the color to set properly. The water is not currently at the right temperature. We need the water to be between 85 to 95 Celsius to set properly the yarn. So we're going to wait for the water to reach that temperature. And then we're going to do a 30 minutes of cooking on the stove before turning off the heat and letting it completely cool off before washing off any excess dye. So I will see you. So it's been about 30 minutes since we last, since the water reached the right temperature. I'm sorry. And we're pretty good. So what we're going to do now is turn off the heat, let it completely cool off before we wash off any excess dye. I know I will have some bleeding because this is Kelly green, so it is what it is. I will brace myself and I will see you later to wash off any excess dye. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to wash off any excess dye, and we already know that we're going to have bleeding, so we just have to prepare ourselves mentally that we're going to work a little hard on those ones. So we're going to let them soak for about 10-15 minutes in the soap wash, and then we're going to come back to see how much work we still have to do. Okay, what do we have here? Doesn't seem too bad yet. It's not too bad. That's actually nice. Okay, so we're just going to squeeze off. Like, there is still hints of colors in the water. We're going to do a second soak just because. And then I will look at it. So we're going to let this soak out a little bit to remove more excess dye, and I'll be back. Okay. So we still have a little bit of color, which no surprise there, but it's not too bad compared to other times we've worked with Kelly green. So I think I'm good to call it quit for now. And we're gonna put that in the spin dryer, and we're going to let it dry overnight, and I will see you tomorrow for the final result. Oh, first I'll show you the mason jars. So here you can see how much color we still have in the mason jars. So this is why I was surprised that we didn't work as harder as we usually do with Kelly green, because there's quite a bit of color there. So, well, maybe because there's still quite a bit of here, we didn't have to work as much because the rest was in the day bath, maybe. And you can clearly see the darker to the lighter shade, but we still have quite a bit of color, but it's fine. So I will spin my yarn to dry, and we're seeing tomorrow the result. Bye. And here's the final result of adding ultraviolet to our Kelly green. As you can see, it's another disappointing time with Kelly green. This has been a little discouraging to see that there's not that much color change. So I guess the exercise was good to know that Kelly green is just a killer. Like, seriously, this is intense. Like, here I thought that Carabin Blue was like the master of the colors, and just Kelly green is just like, hey, hold my beer. I'm going to destroy all the colors and take over the world. I guess it's the Fire Nation. Why am I being a nerd this morning? I don't know. It's fine. Okay, so basically it's just it has been a little hard for me to work on this color because it's been very discouraging to see barely any color shift. So if you're going to use Kelly green, just make sure that you don't use that much and that it's not the main character, unless you want a very beautiful gray. Like, it is a very beautiful color, don't get me wrong. Oh, I put that in the wrong order. There we go. So basically it's just going to overpower everything, so just be careful with that. And if you've liked the series, I have the entire playlist on the channel, and if you've liked the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye.